Welcome, everybody. This is a reading from Whispers from Eternity by Paramahansa Yogananda. It's called Make Me Feel That Everything is Joy. I am the foam of happiness spumed out of the sea of thy joy. I am the ocean life bounding with the billows of joy. Endless eddies of my laughter spread through all hearts. When the time comes to depart, I will retire to wakeful sleep on the bosom of thy infinite joy, a ripple ever dancing with billows of all joy. I am a bubble of joy, struggling to burst and unite with the ocean of joy. I feel thy joy in all things. Make me a lighthouse of joy also, guiding storm-tossed vessels of life to safety on the shores of thy joy. Let every vine of my activity bear large grape clusters of thy joy. Let me drink the divine wine pressed from the grapes of all life's little joys. This is a reading from The New Path, My Life with Paramahansa Yogananda. This is required reading for all serious yogis. He has given us so much in this book. And here, this is from the chapter 29 Palms, and that's where he spent all his time with Master in the desert when he was editing the Bhagavad Gita. And this is some advice that he's given us. Visualize the Guru. He's talking about his Guru. Visualize the Guru, he said, at the point between the eyebrows, the Christ center. This is the broadcasting station of the body. Call to him deeply at this point. Then try to feel his response in your heart, which is the body's receiving set. When that response comes, it will be here that you feel it intuitively. When it comes, pray deeply. Introduce me to God. Sometimes I also visualize Master seated in a diminutive form on the top of my head. Either way, as I meditated on him, I've often felt a wave of peace or love descend over me, suffusing my entire being. Sometimes answers to questions would come, and a clearer understanding of qualities that I was trying to develop or to overcome. Sometimes in a single meditation on Master, I would find myself freed of some delusion that had plagued me for months, perhaps even for years. On one such occasion, as I approached him, afterward and knelt for his blessing, he commented softly, "Very good." Master occasionally came over to the monks' retreat at 29 Palms. At such times he would walk about the grounds with us, or sit with us and talk. Sometimes we meditated together. After one such meditation, I recorded his words. "This is the kingdom of Om. Listen, it is not enough just to hear it. You must merge yourself in that sound. Om is the Divine Mother." He paused a few minutes. Om Kali, Om Kali, Om Kali. Listen. He paused again. Oh, how beautiful it is. Om Kali, Om Kali, Om Kali. On another occasion, I was sleeping at the monks' retreat. It was late at night. Suddenly I awakened with the feeling, with the divine presence I thought was in the room. The impression was overwhelming. I sat up to meditate, then caught a glimpse of Master walking outside the house in the moonlight. Inexpressibly grateful to him, I went out and silently touched his feet. And there's just one more that I wanted to read. Let me include here the lyrics of one of those songs that I have written. Its name is Love is a Magician. Love is all I know, sunrise on the snow of a winter long, in darkness without song. Oh, my heart's afire, burning all desire. Only you remain, and life again. Too long did I stray, flung lifetimes away, imagined you did not care. I know now your smile was mine all the while. I listened, and love was there. I can't breathe for love. All the stars above called to me, come home. Life's waves all end in foam. Only love can heal all the pain I feel. What a fool I was to turn away. And so, before explaining a little more the subject of communities, and by trying to interest you, my readers, in this activity, I would like to make the following humble suggestions. If you seek true fulfillment, shun delusion as you would a disease. Maya will never give you what you want. If you are seeking the truth, shun everything that is even remotely suggestive of falsehood. If you seek to experience truth, seek God, not abstractions. If you want that experience, seek the guidance of one who knows Him. And if you seek that guidance, consider the beauty of a teaching that offers not more dogma, but practical common sense, based on modern man's understanding of the universe and on the deep experience of God's love, instead of mere definitions of that love. This is what Paramahansa Yogananda brought to the world. And it was a privilege to be with him. He came to Master 3.5 years before Master left his body. He came right around the time that Yogananda wrote Autobiography of a Yogi. And he wrote it just in time for Swami to read it and make his journey across the United States and kneel at his guru's feet and say, I want to be your disciple. And I think it's such a good metaphor for us also that Swamiji came the last 3.5 years of Master's life. Master Swami was a young man. He would have the time and the life ahead of him to carry out this great work of Master's. The other disciples died off or were older, and so they did what they could. But here was this young man on fire for God, and he was given the responsibility of taking these teachings out. And that's what he did. When he said to his guru, I want to be your disciple, never for a moment did he ever sway from that statement. And he said at the very end of his life, in his late 80s, all I ever wanted to be was a true disciple. What an example for us. We had Swamiji for all these years. And now he has left us a legacy of Kriya Yoga, of deep meditation, of attunement to the Guru, of books beyond compare, of music that sends our souls soaring in God. He has given us so much. We must take advantage of it while we're young. We must take advantage of it while we are still healthy and while we still have that desire. It's such a blessing to have the teachings of a true Guru, because along with those teachings comes the grace of the Guru. And grace is the most important thing. And what draws that grace? We're all here in this room. We're listening on the internet. Congratulations to Bangalore. But what draws the grace is that intense desire for God. By loving God. And you know, I used to hear Swami say that. You must love God, love God. And I read all the books and love God, love God. How can you love something you don't know? How can you love God when you haven't experienced God? So what did God give us? In His great compassion for our stumbling about in this world seeking God. We think we know everything, and then we find out we know nothing because we don't have that happiness, that joy inside. He gave us techniques, Kriya Yoga, deep meditation, but He also gave us the idea and the spiritual practice of selfless service. Because once we begin to be filled up with the love of the Masters within your heart, once you begin to feel that and really experience what we read about and hear about and talk about, when you really get a glimpse, the most important thing for that grace, for that blessing, is for us to share it, because then we will expand our consciousness. That's what the nature of joy is. The nature of love is to expand. God uses instruments for this love, for this joy. God uses us, humble instruments. And so as Swamiji was telling us, get away from the delusion that we're separate from God. Get away from the Maya that will take you away, promise you everything and all the happiness. It won't. It all ends, it all fades. And then again, we're back in the life cycle. Next, he said, it was so funny in this talk, he said, okay, you can't come on the spiritual path because of your parents. Okay, fine. That's this incarnation. What about last incarnation and those parents? What about future incarnations and those parents? There's always something that the mind will latch onto and the heart will attach itself to and say, no, you can't find God. Not now, you're too busy, you have responsibility, you have this life, you have to live it a certain way. We have expectations, and we buy into those expectations. When are we going to buy into God? When are we going to buy into the expectation of our soul to be one with God? Now is the time. Yogananda would say, eventually, why not now? Why not now? What are we waiting for? In Swami Kriyananda's life, we were very privileged to watch him deal with diversity, deal with adversity in his life, deal with stark criticism. People attacked him on many levels. His health was very seriously challenged all throughout his life. And we got to see right there, just right in front of us, how a great yogi responds to these things in life. He responded by calm acceptance. Calm acceptance. What comes of itself, let it come. He would tell us all the time to read the Gita. What comes of itself, let it come. And he would respond with love. He never gossiped. He never talked about people. In the community, we get all caught up in personality, and they did this, and they said that, and this one, and that one, and you know how gossip starts. It's a very bad thing. It says in the Gita, the carping spirit will keep you from experiencing God. Criticism, judgment. He never criticized. He would look at that soul and love that soul, no matter how off that soul was. And so that soul, that person who was drawn magnetically to God through Swamiji, was healed. That's what true healing is. True healing, we want to be healers and we want to send out energy, but true healing is non-judgmental, unconditional love for everyone in our life. And we think these people in our lives are accidents. How come we have to have this one? How come that one's there? And if only that one wasn't there, and this isn't fair, and those tapes run in our mind. Life is unfair. Well, it's really good to remember that we drew everything. Whatever you put out, you get back. It's all because of us. At one point, you take responsibility for your life. At one point, and you say, okay, these are the people in my life. This is where I live. This is my job. This is my karma. I'm going to live on a higher level. I'm going to live with consciousness. I'm going to live with divine love. And I'm going to be an instrument for that grace to touch souls in this world who God has sent to me as a spiritual warrior. That's the real job. We have jobs, we lose jobs. We have careers, we lose careers. The real job is to be a pure instrument for divine love. And then at the end of your life, we can all say to Divine Mother, I did the very best I could. I did the very best I could. And now, please take me home. I want to be one with you. It's what everybody wants. We all want the same thing. There's no separation between my desire for God and yours. We want the same thing. Why don't we help one another? Through prayer, through kindness, through non-judgmental compassion. Gosh, it's what the world needs now. Look at the divided world that we live in. It's what a blessing to be in this little ocean of peace. If you live in God, you are in an ocean of peace. And you attract to yourself the things that you need to live in a higher consciousness and to find the God that you want so badly. So Swamiji gave us songs and books and talks, and he was none of that. He always said he was an event that he was responsible for. And so it is with us. So for the rest of the service, I wanted to just listen to a couple of songs of Swamiji. Because vibration of the music, it actually heals you. If you could just listen to this particular, I'm not saying only Swami's music, but spiritual music has a certain vibration, and it heals your mind. It heals your nerves, your nervous system. It heals your heart. So we'll listen to a few songs of Swami and just be grateful. I just want to leave you with that, with everything you've been given in this life, especially God and Guru and one another. We are very, very grateful. Haridas and I are to be here in Bangalore with all of you. We were in New York for 6 weeks. I miss everybody so much, but I was connected. I meditated every day and I prayed. And I was connected with Jayadev in the newsletter. And so this is our family. We're so happy to be here. And somebody said yesterday, oh, thank you for coming back. And I thought, well, I had never thought of not coming back. So I'm really glad I'm back. And God bless you all.